everybody, and welcome to another episode of Outer Space Reviews. So excited. So today is the final episode of Path to BoonBoomger Live.
Get it right. We've done this how many times?
50! So this is the podcast where we have watched every episode of BoonBoomgers in anticipation for the live stage, the museum, the another event stage, and finally the King Oja vs. BoonBoomger movie in cinemas. So we have a lot to do, so we needed to pick up everything and watch it. 50 days, 50 episodes. It's actually 49 days, 50 episodes. We filmed 2 in 1 day. So it's pretty crazy that we've gotten this far for you guys, all because Japan. Japan. We made something exciting. So please stick with us while we try to also review these event spaces and movies and whatnot that are coming out while we are in Japan. So
today we're up to Bakuage final, and it's called Your Handle. So let's take the handle and let's drive.
So, what did you think of the final episode?
Yeah, it was great. It wrapped up every storyline perfectly. It was
okay.
I really enjoyed the action. You could tell they do a big budget on the final. I like the inclusion of the kids. It's sort of like them in the crowd, sort of
Always
being like, "Gambare!"
Gambare. Yep.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I liked how well paced it was. It really didn't waste time. It went straight into the battle from the start, and then straight into Spinder getting all the gasoline from Earth and becoming super powerful. They did defeat him pretty quickly, and I would have liked more with Grantz.
I did say that I wanted more backstory for Grantz. It's literally just like, I was found, and then he, Spinder, basically picked me up and brought me onto the organization. It's like, your backstory sounds really interesting. I want to see your life before that.
No.
I'm dead.
This is the problem with a lot of Sentai is that they wrap up the story nicely. The final episode is good, but it's always so rushed towards the end of them. They always rush storylines and they don't give enough focus on generally the villains that are more interesting. Like even the group, the
Sense Eaters.
Like we thought they were going to join the BoonBoomgers, but they were just cheering from the sidelines. They didn't have any really inclusion in the final.
They're like, we're going to film it so everyone can cheer for you. That was it.
They had a really nice scene where they're like, we are our own bosses now, and we're going into space to have space adventures. And it was like that with the rest of them. They were all like, let's go into space and have space adventures, join the BBG.
They always wanted to do the BBG, so tacking that on at the end, it's like everything's okay in Earth now. Now we can do the BBG, and I was like, I thought they were going to do BBG stuff for the series, but no, it was all about stopping the Ashalian organization.
I wish we got to see a bit of the Rainbow Road action, but I did like that Boon decided that the BBG wasn't his calling and to stay on Earth with his bestie.
With Sakito, that was good.
So I like that. And
Shirabe is now the director of ISA.
She's amazing. She had the best story.
Best story. Yep. So she had a really good arc as someone who's like, and then you just really... She had so much story that you kind of just wanted to know more about her, and then you wanted to be like, yep, you can do this.
And she did do it. She took over the company. She gathered the evidence. She restored Boondorio. Well, she didn't really restore him. She sort of just let him be, and then all the cheering kids restored him, technically. But, she did.
She was working with the BoonBoomgers in the shadows to really support them also.
Yeah. She really did the most.
So, with all that, what would you rate this episode then?
I'm going with a 10. I felt that it was well paced. It had loads of action. It had all of our favourite characters. It had some fantastic storytelling, and it kept my attention the entire episode. Solid 10 episode.
Yay.
But that doesn't give the general score of all of BoonBoomgers, which is different. So we'll get into that.
Yes. So... because it was the last episode, they did not have the ending song, so we didn't get a message. Maybe it's just thank you for supporting BoonBoomger over the year. That's normally what they do.
And the handover to the next series. Got him.
Now, it's time for our full breakdown
Yes.
of the BoonBoomgers series.
Yes.
So through every episode that we've done, we've given it a score. Last night, I calculated all those scores, and then we've also added on today's score. Now, to get these scores, we've broken it down by lap.
Yep.
And gotten their average score. And also we got the overall score for the series. Now, the overall score for the series might not reflect our full views on what we think the series is as a whole.
I scored based on the series itself. I didn't score comparing it to any other Sentais that have come before.
Yep.
So the scoring that we're about to give now is purely on our immediate thoughts of the series while we're watching it.
Yep. So for the first lap, episodes 1 to 9, every other number I'm going to forget from now on. First lap, it was a median score of 8.
Very enjoyable. Setting up characters, lots of action. The monsters of the week were fun. But yeah, lap 2 was interesting.
There were some ups and downs, but it also received a median score of 8.
Yes, I think there were some really weak episodes in lap 2, but there were some really strong ones.
That's also when we had the movie, so
yes,
movie was strong for
the movie was
movie.
Good.
Yep. And yeah, there were more episodes in lap 2 than all the other laps.
Yes.
So yeah, it was definitely an interesting lap, as we also had the introduction of Boom Violet, more robos, more forms, the movie, as I said. Yeah, it was just more setting up the story.
But was lap 2 with the aquarium? I think that was lap 1.
So. No, I think it was lap 2. Lap 2 because it was around the time that Boon Violet was introduced. So it might have been like the second wave of toys.
Yeah.
Lap 3, it actually had higher scores, so it brought its median score up to a 9.
Yes.
Lap 3 was definitely the strongest arc.
And we can thank all of that to my personal favorite episode, the Mad Max inspired episode.
Yes.
I gave that one 11 because they took a risk with that episode. There was a lot of special effects and taking inspiration from movies that children aren't allowed to see. These are like R-rated films. It was really exciting and cool, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
It was a great lap. It was great. Now, for the final lap, even though it had weak episodes, they did have stronger ones. So it pushed its overall median score to an 8.
Yes.
Yeah. Which was interesting. Because, it did have some weak stories trying to get to the final story. It did feel a bit rushed, but it did have some strong ones to support it also.
Yeah. Yeah, it really went up and down. Some days I thought we were going to have a fantastic episode and it fell flat, and other days, it's all over the place a bit.
Yeah, and we had the 5-episode arc to the end also, which definitely had some of the weaker ones.
Yes, definitely. Leading up to some of the better ones though.
Yep.
So, there you go.
When we calculated all the scores, that's 1 plus movie, 248, it brought it to a median of 8. So overall, we thought it was an 8 out of 10 series.
Which is strong. Like, that is a solid series right there. It sounds like we would highly recommend it as per that. Yeah, so let's definitely get into why we thought it was an 8 and how it compares to some other series. Yeah, because it's... that 8 is based on our opinions of this series alone. We did not compare it to other series up until this point. So now we're going to start comparing it and get maybe a little harsh. Or not. Maybe we loved it.
We'll start with the characters. Now, of the core 6, I felt some didn't have as much story compared to others, and it did make them look a bit flat. So let's start with Tyre.
Oh, yes.
I felt Tyre didn't have much to him. He was literally, I'm rich. I wasn't rich as a kid. I want to help people. I want to be, and then therefore I'm a delivery man because I'm rich. I can afford to do this.
Yep.
I found an alien. I can now try to help people. That overall was his story.
Yep. He took on the dream of the alien. His own dream was just to help children because he had a bit of a rough childhood. But he was a support, even though he was the lead character. He was a supporting role, ultimately.
His storyline didn't really change.
Yep.
End of the day, I'm still helping Boondorio join the BBG, but now with friends.
Yeah.
Going to space, like I wanted since episode 1, apparently.
And he did his little sort of mental breakdown right near the end there, where he was needed to be boosted up by the others and helped out. And that was probably the most personal development he had as a character. And even then, it was just like one and done, one episode. He was a little down, and then he recovered. Yeah, I didn't feel much connection to Tyre personally. He was cool. He's a really cool leader. There's nothing wrong with him.
No,
it's
there's
just
nothing.
that, yeah, they didn't really go into step.
Yeah. Next, Cheshire.
Oh, Cheshire.
You want to take this one?
Yes. Well, I absolutely loved Cheshire from the very beginning. I thought he was a very intriguing character. We have to have that character of mystery on the team. We don't really know where they're going. They're a little bit serious. They're a little bit guarded. And that was quite the twist when it's like, oh no, he's working with the ISA and he's the villain. Oh my goodness, what's happening? Oh wait, no, he's not.
Yeah.
It was a bit like that. So it was a little confusing, his flip-flopping around the place, especially when, while he was quote-unquote the villain, he really played the villain. Like, he was threatening Tyre behind closed doors. Like, he wouldn't have to do that if he was pretending to be the villain. So it was a little bit odd writing towards the end. I really liked him in the first 2 laps.
Okay.
But when it got to the second 2 laps, his writing got a bit confusing.
I like marine life.
Yes. I wanted more of that. He had a soft spot for the aquarium, and that was one of my personal favorite episodes. And yeah, they didn't delve into his soft spots much after that. So he was great in that he got loads of early character development. And they did utilize him. It's really good when they make one of the good guys a bad guy. It makes it interesting, but I felt they could have written that better.
And if we wanted a bit more backstory on his meeting with Ty for the very first time, you have to read a comic book for it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so chapter 0, the meeting of Cheshire with Tyre, you can find online. So you can read that at your own leisure, yeah. But overall, does it add to his story? Who knows? But you'll just know some backstory to him. But in the grand scheme of this series, yeah, it's literally, he feels, he didn't get as much addition to his story as it could have been.
They seasoned him lightly.
So yeah, overall, I didn't feel like Cheshire also got much in terms of storytelling. So he did get his marine episode. He got a backstory of, I worked with this spy one time before. He got backstory of, I've worked with the ISA before.
Yes.
And then he had his arc as a villain.
Yes.
That's all we know about Cheshire, really.
Yes. But as we go and talk about some of the other characters, you might see a bit of a pattern here with the lack of story and backstory. Yeah, so Cheshire, while he was one of my personal favorites, and I thought he had some pretty strong development, he's fine. Yeah, he might not ultimately be my favorite. So let's move on to Mira.
Mira, I felt, was a strong character.
Yes.
We did see that she took control of her own life from the first episode to the point where she did many jobs.
Yes. She's a fantastic representation of just like working in Japan. She's, she's not rich, so she's got the BoonBoomgers, but she's also got multiple jobs on the side.
Yep.
And she personally had some really strong character development episodes.
Yep.
When she was helping her friends, that was one of my favorite episodes.
That was a good episode.
I loved the messages in that one. She was the one to bring in loads of good messages for children, and she had wonderful mini arcs where she would lose control of her wheel and she'd have to retake it, and she kept getting like attempted married off to people.
Yes. Her boyfriend from the first episode, who tried to prevent her getting married to the Yakuza, came back and was like, all right, now I'm going to try to marry you in America or something like that. Just like, and she's like,
her. He tried to do he like stalked her in attempt to do the very thing that he tried to save her from. So absolute idiot. He got thrown aside. She said no again. Yeah. Fantastic.
And then, of course, in the final arc where it's
Spinder.
like, oh, yeah, so if you marry Spinder, you will control the BBG. And also, it's just a political marriage, so you got to do it so you make sure the BoonBoomgers don't go to jail.
But the great thing
like,
was Spinder was just like, yeah, I can just take Boom Pink. She has to marry me. And she comes in and she's like, I'll do it. But you have to give me the BBG. And he's just like, I like this one. She is strong. No, I really liked her. She became one of my favorite characters, definitely.
Yeah, she was definitely a strong character in the show.
Definitely.
Bigger Don, Oni's sister vibes.
Yes.
Almost like the main character, almost. They did focus on Boom Pink a lot, which was really
They
great.
really did, yes.
Yeah.
So,
But not in a bad way, so it was really good, yeah.
Yeah, she was awesome. She kept hold of the wheel and she did her own thing, and she never fell for any of the male characters or had any sort of love story arc, which is fantastic.
Yep.
I hate when they tack those on. So this was a good spin on the female ranger.
Yes.
Yes.
Gemba.
Gemba. What are your thoughts on Gemba?
He was kind of a mystery the whole series.
He was.
Even though, yes, we know he's a prince. He's the second in line. He's Gembada Delivery the second.
Yep.
He's a cat man.
Okay.
His only motivation mid-series was to kill Death Race.
Yes.
Or Cannonball. Was it Cannonball? No, it was Death Race.
Yeah.
It was Death Race.
Yeah.
That was his mission because Death Race was the one that took over his planet.
Yeah.
After that, he basically went back to his I procure.
Yeah.
So he was a cool guy, but his story was literally Prince needs revenge. Revenge solved with the power of friendship. Friends.
Yeah. His
Procure.
entire role in this series was to add interest into the middle of the series. He came in as a mystery cool guy character. He was the cool guy. And he was the pre-Boon Violet cool guy.
Yes.
And then he kept the series moving at a good pace.
I brought the thing.
And he added great tension into the middle when
Yes.
he became alienated from the BoonBoomgers.
That was good too. That was good too.
very
yeah.
good. I really enjoyed the inclusion of Tokuja and him, and they working together to sort of him regain the wheel.
Come on, bro. Join them. Do it.
No, that was good. I don't rate Gemba as strongly as Mira, but he did have some great
Yes.
focused episodes.
Yeah, it's just unfortunately after all that, he literally went back to
fell off.
Procurement Boy.
Yeah.
And so if you enjoyed him as there he is on screen, yeah, but as a character after that, you're just like, yeah, I like Gemba, but can you please tell more story about him? No.
I wanted to see other cat people.
No, no, right? Are they that enslaved? Apparently that they can't have anyone else. Like, did someone escape him? Like, Gemba, please come to our planet. You're our only hope.
Yeah.
Or go back to the planet at the end of this series. No, I used my spaceship to stop all the Yarokars. So,
Imagine-
I got to just do all this in space too.
The only mention or wrap up of Gemba's story was right at the end when who's been black?
Joe.
When Joe comes up and is just like, it's okay, at some point we're gonna go and save your dad. And he's like, thank you, that'd be great. And it's like,
But first, let's race in space! Space race!
let's leave them to suffer on the planet while we space race.
Yeah!
I
More
know.
gasoline.
So that was a little bit weird there. They just that was the only wrap up
His
of
journey
his story.
was revenge, and revenge solved mid-season, and it's just
Yep.
like, procure. I
Yeah.
like it to procure.
He gets revenge, but he doesn't save his people. And it's just alluded to him saving his people at some weird point in the future. So not very satisfying on the wrap up of his story at all, which is where he falls weak. But as we said, mid to later series, he got some great episodes, and so he's not terrible.
Joe.
Yay, Joe.
Joe.
We love Joe. Everyone
Joe's
loves
great.
Joe.
Everyone loves Joe.
Joe is the everyman character. He is the accessible one, the likable one, the one that can do no wrong. From the very start, when they introduced Joe, the way he became a Boonboomger.
Yep.
So had the toilet grooming.
Right,
and
right. He just wanted to be the Boonboomger. He wanted to help people. His goal was help people at all
and
times.
people were suspicious of him. They're like, he's too good. He must be hiding. He must be acting. But then he got washed by the toilet and all of his truths came out. And he's like, I just want to help people. And everyone's like, oh, he is just a really good guy.
And then everyone's like, this is a really cool guy.
And no matter what, his morals were pushed constantly but he always overcame it.
Yep.
He always became the good guy, and he had wonderful episodes.
Yes.
The episode with him one-on-one where he's teaching the kid.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic message to that episode. Loved that episode.
And it showed, even though his father was a police officer, he still wanted to do good for everyone. Even if he makes mistakes, he wants to learn from those mistakes, get better, and continue to help the community.
And his morals were so strong that when being a police officer became morally grey, he quit. He straight up quit. Yeah. It's fantastic.
To the point where he'll help. He doesn't need the police badge to help everyone.
Yes. So he was kind of the backbone of the series. He stayed consistent from the very start. He was the greatest Boonboomger. And even Taya himself said in that episode where he was mentoring the kid that he is the peak hero. He is the greatest Boonboomger.
Taya's just like, I may be the main, but like, I'm rich, baby. I don't do anything else. But Joe is doing everything he can to help people.
No, he's a good guy and stayed a good guy all the way to the end. And
learn from his mistakes.
Yes. So
never give up.
Yes. So him being the backbone and him being so reliable puts him at one of our favorite characters.
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
Now moving on to Boon Violet, Sakito.
The wild card.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he was crazy from the start. So he looked like he was going to be a villain, and then he wasn't, because he's chaotic.
Yes.
He's from space, but he's from Earth. Went to space as a kid, and his backstory is just being a cleaner in space, and just come back to Earth, and he's like, I'm going to clean.
Yeah. I'm going to get paid, and then he's always poor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was definitely an interesting character for a sixth.
Yes. He definitely was unpredictable, and he, being the wild card, he made things a little fresh, a little interesting.
Yep.
He was definitely essential to the series to keep it interesting, fresh, and moving along. Yeah. So what were some of his plot points? Did we get much story on him?
He held onto a card before he went into space and looked after it, because he wants to give it back to his friend, because I think he nicked it or something.
Yes.
And then he saw his friend, but his friend still remembers him.
Yes.
So he wants to look after his friends. It gave him a reason to be on Earth, to look after his friends.
That's right. It was a plot device to keep him on Earth, because at that point he wanted to go back to space. Yeah. But that was a good episode. That was a good one. And I did feel like some of his focused episodes, they were good, but they weren't great. And he is a good background support character, I feel.
He did feel more supporty, like if the group was in danger, he would appear last minute to stop an attack or something, and then things would turn around.
He did a lot of things in the background. He was the one fighting the killer robos.
Yep.
And he's the one just doing the cleanup in the background.
Yep.
Yeah, so not too much focus on him, but he is such a fun character that I wouldn't dismiss him entirely. He had some great lines, and I think the actor did a great job.
Yeah, he was just kept on Earth, and then from there, he's just like, I'm here, I'm cleaning. If you need something resolved, I'll be here for it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely sound out in the comments who your favorite character is, because I feel like he could have been a lot of people's favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had that energy about him. He had a lot of charisma.
He was like what Boon Red could have been as a lead.
Yes.
He should have been the charismatic one.
Yeah.
The Tayo was just very, I have the money to do all this. Let's go. Let's save the children.
I have the money to hire you too.
Yep, we'll do that. Welcome to the team.
Shall we talk about Boondorio?
Yes, let's do that. So Boondorio had a very interesting story.
Really did.
So I love the tropes of being part of the villains group and then using the powers of the villains-esque to start a team. So that's very ridery in a way. So him being part of the Hash Aliens, getting tricked by the Hash Aliens to join it, and then going, I'm going to start my own team, which was using his technology and maybe some of the Hash Alien technology to make the BoonBoomgers, was definitely an interesting concept.
Yeah, it's interesting because Boondorio was written as a support character.
Yes.
He's in the background supporting, but he had more main character moments than some of the quote-unquote main characters. Even Taya, he was more front-focused than Taya was. I think his whole arc towards the end and him coming in to rescue them and giving his life for them. And no, he's a really cool guy, and I liked that there was a bit of a morally grey area in there where he did work with the villains, and he does have a bit of a I wouldn't call it a violent streak, more of an impulsive streak.
Definitely,
He's very passionate character. What would be your final thoughts on him?
He definitely gave support to main character energy. He was very vital to the team. And the fact that he was also the robot and the robot talked and all that type of stuff.
Yep.
He was a pretty good character.
He's pretty good, yeah. Yeah, I would definitely rate him higher than some of the other BoonBoomgers. He deserves a spot on that team.
Yeah. Because there's been series in the past where, like Go Buster, where they have a sidekick robot, or even like older Showa ones where they had the sidekick robot, which Rika Matsumoto has done previously, I think for Turbo Ranger or something, or even like Maskman, something. She did a previous series where she was a robot of the team, but it was properly just a support character. It wasn't the robot. So for them to do support character who is the robot of the team, the main robot of the team, to become almost a main character is a very interesting trope in itself.
Yeah, I really like that. And similar with Boon D. Boon D was a wonderful little plot element thrown into the middle where we created tension with Boondorio and their past shared history. And that was a wonderful little mystery there that we were trying to unravel in the middle.
He did come off as very antagonistic at the start, but it's more... It found out he just wanted to know what happened to Boondorio, and
upset.
then once he forgave him, he's just like, okay, I'm going to work with you because Sakido wants to stay on Earth, and we're going to clean on Earth.
Yes.
And then he got a whole bunch of crazy, legendary Sentai team power-ups and whatnot.
Yeah, he had some of the coolest robo fights. But he definitely remains strongly just a support character.
Yep.
We didn't get any personal backstory history on him. It was to push attention onto Boondorio.
Yeah. Yes. His backstory is literally he was a racer with Boondorio.
Yeah, and he
won more, and it pushed.
Yeah.
It's a story arc push. It made Boondorio do the illegal modifications to try to push himself faster to beat Boon-D, and it didn't work, and that's why Boondorio fell into despair, and that's his story.
Yeah.
And Boon-D's just like, I win race.
Yeah. No, that was a good story. It felt a little bit like Talladega Nights with the two best friends. Shake and bake. But then one wants to be the winner, so he becomes the winner, and then the other one falls into ruin, and that sort of storyline. Good fun.
Now, moving on to Shirabe.
Yes. I adore her. I think you adore her too.
She's a great character. She started off as that annoying rando that was just shoehorned in, but then she grew to be a part of the team, which was great.
Yeah, she started off as that, thorn in the side.
Yep.
So they had to work around her, and she had to report to the ISA, etc., etc., etc.
Yep.
But she just kept growing on them, and she absolutely adores Boondorio, and that's adorable. But she ended up being a really powerful character. She had a lot of plot points. A lot of good things that she did in the background.
Yep.
Yeah.
And now she's the director, as I said earlier. So, we will see her in future installments, I guess.
Yes. I think when it comes to her, she was always a background character.
Yep.
She is written as a background character, not a main. Of course, she's not a Boonboomger.
Yep.
But she is the strongest background character.
That is correct, yeah. She's definitely not a main, but when she was there, she had a reason to be there.
Yeah. She never felt unnecessary. She definitely felt like she had an important role to be working in the background and to be reporting on the ISA, keeping her eyes open, and just also being a fun character too. Like, she started off as, oh no, she's going to be bland and irritating, and she really wasn't.
She's like, oh my god, I love robots. Oh, so cute. You, Boon-chan.
Yes. Yeah, no, she's good fun, and I think she was a well-written Sentai character.
Yeah, starting off as a someone who reports on the ISA to ending up reporting on the ISA was a great turnaround arc for her also.
And then becoming a director.
Now she's director.
Amazing.
And she's like, oh yeah, my friend Miami, she's Miami Vice. I told you, or Cheshire told you to pretend to be colluding with the director. And she's like, yeah.
I did good acting, didn't I? She really did. That was pretty good.
You had us all fooled.
Yeah, she was quite villainous, that character. Yeah, she in the background scowling all the time. Yeah.
And so Shirabe's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, you fooled me.
Got me. You got me.
Yeah.
You're back on the team. You're back on the ISA. Sweet.
Yeah. So I can't really rate Shirabe as per the main characters, but I'd say she's my favorite background character. Yeah.
Now, overall for the series, what do you think of it?
Are we comparing it to previous Sentai now?
Would you put it up there with like top Sentais that you enjoyed?
So it's honestly not in my top 3. I'm yet to think if it's in my top 5, but my main point for why it's not in my top 3 is that it felt safe.
Yeah.
This definitely felt like the series that appeals to the widest audience. It didn't take any crazy creative vision. It wasn't too far apart from traditional Sentai. It didn't go ham with too many female, characters or too many special effects or crazy plot twists or anything. There wasn't anything that really stood out, unfortunately, for this series. And they also chose a very safe core plot device being driving.
Yeah, so that's the 4th time. So we had Turbo, we had Car, we had Boonboomger, and now Boonboomger.
That's it. They know it works. And so this felt like they were just pulling back a little bit after bringing out such a creative series.
Like King Oja.
King Oja was very out there for pushing the boundaries of what Sentai could do. So they pulled it back a bit, get their money, get their fans going. So I understand and respect why they went this way.
Yeah, it's definitely a safe series.
Yeah.
I know there are people out there saying it's a great series in their top 5s. They're saying it's the superior Sentai trope, all that type of stuff. It's a safe series. So if you wanted to like get into Sentai, Boonboomger would definitely be a good starter.
Yes.
Like especially for if you want more current
Yes.
Sentai.
It encompasses everything that classic Sentai aims to deliver
Yep.
in a modern package.
Yep.
So it's good. It's
And
great.
for a series that wasn't even a anniversary series, they had a few legendary Sentais come back.
And I absolutely love their choice of what Sentais to bring back. The Tokujo episodes were fantastic. Love them. And of course, you absolutely adored
Goonja episode,
the Goonja.
I'm just surprised they didn't bring back Turbo Red from Turbo Ranger. He wasn't doing anything. He was in conventions.
Yeah, I definitely... it was weird because there was a lot of potential to do some really cool things with some episodes that fell quite flat. And there wasn't much pushing of the storyline at all throughout the series. And yeah, no, I think our overall median of an 8 was quite accurate. I
feel like overall it'd be a 7 though.
Yeah, we'd probably drop it down if we're comparing it to other series.
Of our own personal references, personal preferences.
Yeah.
It'd be a 7-ish.
Yeah.
Good, but not in the tops.
Yeah, it didn't get us that excited, but there wasn't really anything that we could fault fundamentally with it.
Yep.
There's been series in the past where they've fallen flat last minute, but I still might rate them higher because overall the entire series was so like passionate and creative. They really put everything into every episode, even if it fell short by the end of it. But yeah, this one, consistent.
Yep. Yeah, there's definitely times for Boonboomger where you're just kind of like, oh, I don't know if this is for me.
Yeah. Some episodes you're like, oh yeah. Sort of pushing through it.
If they gave their characters, like some of the other characters we discussed, a bit more oomph to them, That's normally how I gel with shows.
Yeah.
It's like great, memorable characters, and you're just like,
Yeah. Like, what's that space Sentai with Tamas? Q-Tama.
Q Ranger.
Q Ranger. Yeah, I wish they had some space elements in this one.
It did feel like that they were supposed to go to space in
It felt
Boonboomger,
like it.
but they're like, oh yeah, everything came from space, but...
Yeah, they kept alluding to other planets and we never saw them. But there were some shots that they did amazing where they did the backstory of Boondorio and the backstory of Sansitas in those awesome alleys that they made all grungy. They look very Blade Runner.
Alien-y, yeah.
Very, neo-aesthetic. And those were fantastic. More of that. That'd be great.
If they definitely put BoonBoomgers more in space, it would have been... a great series, yeah.
And even throwing in a race episode or two.
If they actually did the space race.
Yeah, it would be great if they tried and maybe failed at the BBG mid-season so that the finale they could retry the BBG and win it.
Yep.
That would be good. But it didn't get me super excited, this series, unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah, so not bad, just not one of our faves.
Yeah. It's not a standout, but definitely fight us in the comments. I do want to hear your opinions on the series and if it resonated with you, because it could just be a matter of we didn't resonate with it. So
normally
much.
we take a bit longer to watch these type of things, so we'd watch like 1 to 3 episodes in a viewing, but this was a daily thing, so it could have come to us. We could have perceived it differently than how we usually do it. Yes, people have watched it as a weekly. There are times when I've also rewatched shows from a weekly to a 1 to 3 viewing, or even when I watched it all, I'd watch at least 4 episodes in a go and then come back another day. But this is a different experience altogether.
Yeah, like me, I binged Magi Ranger. But I love that, but that one's like more of a personal I vibe with the Magic series, which is why I like things like Wizard, which wasn't people's favorites, but I liked it. So it really depends on what you personally vibe with. If you love this whole car aesthetic, you'd love this series. It had a lot of fantastic car moments in it.
It's not a bad thing that we didn't vibe with this series, but we would still recommend it to a whole bunch of people. It's definitely a great starter series for current Sentai to watch.
Yes. Yeah, so we're still really excited for these events in Japan. I am really keen to go check them out and keen to share them with you all.
Yes.
We're going to be filming so much. And so please comment below if you want us to film any specific things, and check out the video that we filmed just before this up here in the corner about these events in Japan, so you can get to know where we're going, what we're doing, and you can even see some of the merch that we'll be checking out too.
So much stuff there.
Oh yeah, so much. So comment below and also fight us in the comments. Tell us why you absolutely love the series or don't like it.
But otherwise, thank you so much for watching these episodes. If you've been keeping up with us since episode 1, thank you so much. Please like and subscribe because that helps our channel. Liking lets us know you enjoyed the content and also enjoy us, and subscribing lets us know that you want to continue seeing more of us and you're keen for the stuff that we're going to film in Japan.
Yes, and dislike this to engage with it and give us the engagement anyway, but you hate us and you want to find us and start a fight.
Yeah, I'll fight you.
Yeah, we'll fight you.
One. But otherwise, we hope to see you in the next episode or in future episodes.
Cool.
We'll see you in Japan.
See you
Maybe.
then.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.